Good morning, Year 6. It is Thursday, the 25th of June, and today we're looking at percentages of an amount. So, first anchor question is complete the statement and circle the answer to the calculation below. So to find 25%, I divide by something. So what is 25% of 48? I'm linking it all in together, so we know dividing. So if we're finding 50%, we divide by 2. So we halve it and halve it again. So we multiply it. So to find 25%, we need to divide by 4. So our answer is 12. So 48 divided by 4 equals 12. Our next one. Lewis tried to calculate 25% of 948. But he has got the answer wrong. He says to find 25% of 948, I divided 948 by 2 and got an answer, got 474 as an answer. Explain his mistake. Well, Lewis is incorrect. Incorrect, as he has only divided by 2, which gives him 50%, and he needs 25%. So meaning that he needs to divide by 4 rather than 2. Okay, so hopefully that all makes sense. We'll have a look at the White Rose video today that will help you with your learning.
Hello there, welcome back. Today we're going to look at finding percentage of amounts. And we've got a teacher here. He's saying to his class, give 100% to everybody. But as any teacher would expect to get, the responses he was getting probably weren't the ones he was expecting to get. But anyway. So what does 100% mean then? We might think of it as everything, all of something, 100 out of 100 parts, or the whole of something. So what would 100% of these things be then? So pause the video. What would 100% of these things be? Well, 100% of a pineapple would be the whole pineapple. 100% of 1,100 would be 1,100. 100% of 11 is 11. 100% of 1256 is 1256. So, if this bar represents 100%, as in the whole bar, what percentage would be represented by the part with the question mark? Pause the video, have a think for yourself first. Well, we can see that the 100% has been split into 2 equal parts. So if we divide it into 2, we can see that this part will be 50%. So 50% is equivalent to a half. So how could we calculate 50% of something? Well, if the whole was 16, 50%, well, could you ever go at calculating that? Well, let's have a think. If we know that 50% is the same as finding a half of something, then we could do 16 divided by 2, which would be 8. So half of 16 is 8. Okay, something for you to have a think about now. Can you have a go at calculating these? What about the first one? So 50% or half of 60 is 30. 50% of something is 72. Does that mean it's going to be 36? No, not in this case. It'd be 144. I'd have to double the 72. Half of 144 is 72. 50% of 70? Well, that's 35. Well, how could I use that to find 50% of 7? Well, I can see that the whole is 10 times smaller. So half of it would also be 10 times smaller. So it would be 3.5. Okay. We've got a bar model here. The whole represents 100%. Pause the video. What percentage would the shaded part represent? The shaded part will represent 10%. We know this because if I've got 10% and I've got 10 lots of 10%, that would get me back to 100% of the whole. So we can think about 10% being equivalent to 1/10. So then, let's see if we can find 10% of a number. So our whole is 120, and we want to find 10%, or 1 of 10 equal parts. So we divide by 10, because there are 10 10% in 100%. Therefore, 10% will be equal to 12. But all the 10% would also be equal to 12. So then, if I know that 10% of 120 is 12, how could I use that to calculate these? Pause the video, have a think for yourself first. Let's have a think then. So, let's shade in 20%. Well, I can see that I'm shading in two 10%. So I could think about doubling what I know for 10%. So 12 times by 2 is 24. Another way I can think about it is that 100% is made of 5 lots of 20%. So if 120 is the whole, I could divide it into 5 to find 20%, which would be 24. Okay, 60%. 6 shaded parts, each representing 10%. So I can multiply 10% by 6 and then 12 by 6, which would be 72. What about for 90%? Well, here's 90% shaded. Rather than going, what's 10% times by 9, I could go, well, what's 100%? Take away 10%. So 120 take away 12 would be 108, which would be 90%. So then, we've got 10% and 20% of 120. But using the bar and using the percentages that we know, how many different ways could you find to calculate 80%? Pause the video, have a think for yourself first. Let's have a think. One way is that we know 10%, so I can multiply it by 8 to get 80%. So 12 times by 8 is 96. Similarly, I could have found 20%, which was 2 lots of 12, and multiply it by 4, which is 96. Another way was I know what half is, which would have been 60, add 30%, which would have been 96. I could have also seen that it's nearly 100%. It's nearly 100%, I've just got to take away 20%. So 100% is 120, take away 24, would leave me with the 96 as well. So there's lots of different ways we can use to calculate different percentages. So, something for you to think about now. Can you work out what the missing numbers are? Let's look at the first one. Well, 10% of 80 would have been 8. So 30% will be 3 times greater, 24. We're not given the percentage this time, but I can see a relationship between 24 and 48. That's twice as much, and the whole has stayed the same. So the percentage must double for that to be true. Okay, 70%. Well, I could think about what's 10% times by 7, or I could add 8 on to 48, which would be 56. Okay, using the bar model, how could we find 25% of 40? So have a think for yourself first. How could we do it? Let's consider that. 25% is 25 over 100. Now, I don't want to split my bar into 100 parts and then shade 25 of them. That'd be a bit awkward. So I might think about simplifying this fraction. So 25 hundredths is the same as a quarter. So, if I split my bar into 4 equal parts, each part would represent 25%. So to find 25%, I could divide it by 4, which would be 10. There we go, there's 25%. So, can you use the bar models to help you solve these two? Pause the video, have a go for yourself first. Let's have a look then. So, if we know that 25% is the same as a quarter, so I could divide 84 by 4, which would have been 21. I notice on the right as well, it's the same whole, so actually, all the parts will also be 21. But this time I want to find 3 quarters. I could have subtracted 21 from 84, or done 21 times by 3. Either way would have got me 63. How could we calculate 15% of 80? It's a bit more of an awkward percentage, that. How could we do it? Pause the video, Have a think for yourself first. Let's think about this 15%. We're quite confident we've calculated 10%, but we haven't thought about 5% yet. Let's get our whole, and 10 equal parts, and each part represents 10%. Well, 10% of 80 is going to be 8. So we can do the same for the rest of them. Now, I'm knowing something about 5%. 5% is half of 10%. So if I half one of the 10% into two 5%, I can see it will be worth 4. So this part is worth 10%, and this part's worth 5%. So how could I calculate 15%? Well, I could add together what I got for 10% and 5%, which would be 8 add 4. So 15% of 80 is 12. Your turn now. Have a go at the worksheet if you have it, but don't worry if you don't. There's material you can get on the BBC Bite Size website.
Okay, have a look at the email that the teachers sent you and also on the website. This is the worksheet that you can have a go at, and don't forget learning by questions.